Longitudinal stress and shearing stress. Let us consider a body as shown in the diagram. When many forces act on the system, the center of mass now remains at rest. The body gets deformed due to this force, and so the internal force appear. That del A is the cross-sectional area of the body. The parts of the body on the two sides of del A exert internal force F and minus F on each other, which is due to the deformation. The force can be resolved into two components. F of n normal to the surface del A perpendicular to the surface, and F of t is the tangential surface del A, therefore tangent to the surface. The normal stress or longitudinal stress sigma over the area is defined as sigma is equal to F by del of A. Similarly, the tangential stress or shearing stress sigma over the area is defined as sigma n is equal to F of n by del A. Longitudinal stress can be classified into two types, tensile stress and compressive stress. The next one, tensile stress and compressive stress. Internal force on the two sides of del A may pull each other. It is stretched by equal and opposite forces. The longitudinal stress is called tensile stress. The another one, compressive stress. When the force acting on the two sides of del A push each other, del A is pushed by equal and opposite forces at the two ends. In this case, del A is said to be under compression. Then the longitudinal stress is called compressive stress. The next one, volume stress. The force at any point is normal to the surface, and the magnitude of the force on a small surface area is proportional to the area. When a solid is immersed in a fluid, the pressure at the location of the solid is P. The force on any area del A is the equation is F is equal to B into del A. F is the perpendicular to the area. The force per unit area is called volume stress. Therefore, sigma is equal to F by A, which is the same at the pressure. The next one, strain. When a force is applied, strain deal with a fractional change in the size of the object. In other words, strain measure the degree of deformation. For example, in one dimension, consider a rod of length L when it stretched to the new length del L. Therefore, strain epsilon is equal to change in size by original size. Therefore, del L by L. Epsilon is the dimensionless quantity and has no unit. Strain is classified into two types. First one, longitudinal strain. When a rod of length L is pulled by equal and opposite forces, the longitudinal strain is defined by epsilon is equal to increase in length of the rod by original of or natural length of the rod. Therefore, del L by L. Longitudinal strain can classified into two types. First one, tensile strain. Tensile strain, if the length is increased from the natural length, then it's known as tensile strain. Then compressive strain, if the length is decreases from its natural length, then it's known as a compressive strain. Next one, shearing strain. Consider a cuboid is shown in the diagram. Let us assume that the body remains in a translation and rotational equilibrium. Let us apply the tangential force F along AD such that the cuboid deform in this diagram. Shearing strain or shear is equation epsilon is equal to A dash by BA, that is x by h is equal to tan theta. For small angle, tan theta is equal to theta. Therefore, shearing strain or shear epsilon is equal to x by h is equal to theta, angle of shear. The next one, volume strain. If the body is subjected to a volume stress, the volume will change. Let V be the original volume of the body before stress and V plus del V be the change in the volume due to the stress. The volume strain which measure the fractional change in the volume. Therefore, the equation of volume strain epsilon V is equal to del V by V. The next one, elastic limit. The maximum stress within which the body regain in original size and shape after the removal of the deforming force is called the elastic limit. If the deforming force exceeds the elastic limit, the body occurs a permanent deformation. For example, rubber band loses in elasticity if parallel apart too much, if changes its size and becomes misfit to the used again. Now we are going to see the topic Hooke's law and its experimental verification. Hooke's law is for a small deformation when the stress and strain are proportional to each other. It can be verified in a simple way by stretching a thin straight wire as like a spring of length L and uniform cross-sectional area A, suspended from a fixed point O. A pan and pointer are attached at the free end of the wire. In this diagram, the pan and a pointer are attached at a free end of the wire. The extension produced on the wire is measured using a vernier scale arrangement. The experiment shows that for a given load, the corresponding stretching force is F and the elongation produced on the wire is del L. It is directly proportional to the original length L and inversely proportional to the area of cross-section A. A graph is plotted using a F on the x-axis and del L on the y-axis. The graph in a straight line passing through the origin. Now, therefore, del L is equal to slope into F. The equation of volume V is equal to area into length. Therefore, this equation F slope is equal to del L. This equation both sides, this side multiply and divided by volume. Therefore, F slope is equal to AL by AL into del L. Rearranging this equation, we get F of A is equal to L by A into slope del L by L. Therefore, F of A directly proportional to del L by L. This is a stress, this is a strain. Therefore, comparing this equation, we get sigma directly proportional to epsilon. Therefore, the stress is proportional to the strain in the elastic limit. Stress and strain profile curve. The stress versus strain profile is a plot in which stress and strain are noted for each head and a graph is drawn taking a strain along the x-axis and stress along the y-axis. The elastic characteristic of the material can be analyzed from the stress strain profile. First one, portion OA. In this region, stress is very small such that stress is proportional to strain, which means Hooke's law is valid. The point A is called limit of proportionality. Because above the point, Hooke's law is not valid. The slope of the line OA gives the Young modulus of the wire. The next one, portion AB. This region is reached the state is increased by a very small amount. In this region, stress is not proportional to the strain, but once the stretching force is removed, the wire will regain the original length. The behavior ends at the point P and hence the point P is known as the yield point elastic limit, the elastic behavior of the material stress and strain curve OAB. Next portion PC. If the wire is stretched beyond the point B, stress is increased and the wire will not regain the original length after the removal stretching force. Next one, portion CD. With further increase in stress beyond the point C, the strain increases rapidly and reaches the point D. Beyond D, the strain increases even when the load is removed and breaks at the point E. Therefore, in the maximum stress beyond which the wire breaks is called breaking stress or tensile strength. The corresponding point D is known as fracture point. In the region BCDE represent the plastic behavior of the material of the wire.